Hello, welcome back to my channel. So I just watched the second most recent Simply Not Logical video in which she talks about back to school advice videos and sort of bemoans the actively harmful and useless attitudes that can characterize some of them. I was briefly sad about this until I realized I can make one that's not like that. So this video constitutes my attempt at an actually useful back-to-school advice video. Everything that I tell you in this video is something that I wish someone had told me when I was starting my post-secondary education back in 2014. I'm also going to walk you through my organization system because it's very different to the one that I used in high school, and there are specific reasons for each change that I made to it. So let's start with the organization. The very first thing that I do when I have a finalized schedule is choose a different color to represent each class that I take. To make this process a bit easier, I do stick with the same colors for different general subjects. For example, since my undergraduate was mainly focused in linguistics, I chose black and blue for linguistics classes. For Spanish, I use green, and when I was taking German and Portuguese classes, I used red and orange respectively. The reason I do this is because I'm able to look at my notes and know at a glance which class they're for. This allows me a certain amount of freedom when I'm choosing my notebook. When you look at notebooks for college, certain characteristics will be essential for you. The most important thing is to find one that suits your specific needs. For me, what I need is an A5 hardcover dot notebook. I found this particular one at Michael's. It's an Artist's Loft notebook, not sponsored. I chose the size and the hard cover of the notebook because of the desk that you'll often find in college classes. They tend to be very small, and it's very difficult to fit a regular sized notebook on them. I find that this works very, very well. And even if the desk is a little bit too small, even for my notebook, the hardcover makes it so that I'm still able to write comfortably. I chose to get a dot notebook because it makes it easier to restructure my notes and make tables when necessary. This notebook also has a table of contents, which is very useful when searching for your notes for whatever exam you're taking next. When I'm done with a class, meeting, whatever, I put the date, the description of the thing, and the page number. I usually dedicate at least one full page for each class for notes, so that keeps my page numbers separate and consistent. I also have a distinct preference for pens. I'm an adult and I have a preference of which pen I use. I find that having all of my writing utensils be from the same brand makes everything just look more consistent, and that makes me feel more organized, which is honestly just half the battle. I chose this particular brand of pen because it's relatively easy to find refills, and obviously I'm able to find a bunch of different colors. Which makes it a lot easier for me to stay organized and not have to constantly search for where I can find my new pens. For my planner, I buy the same size as my notebook. In this case, it's an A5-ish. It's not quite there, but it's very close. And I keep my colors for each class consistent. So just like with my notes, before I even read what I've written down, I know which class it's for. And this, again, keeps everything consistent. The main takeaway here is that keeping everything consistent is the most important for my system. So this is my last semester's notebook, and I'm using it to show you another thing that I do when I get my final schedule. I write down the entire schedule in the colors of each class in the beginning. So here I've crossed out my professors' names to protect their privacy, but I write the class number, the class title, when it is, where it is, and my professor's name. All of this in the color of the class that I'm taking. So for the other bits of advice that I have for you, as someone who's been doing this for a while, here are a few things that I wish that people had told me when I was first starting. First, the syllabus is your god. It will have everything you need to be successful in your class. It will have due dates, exams, office hours. Often, if you need disability accommodations or you need to see non-discrimination policies, those will also be on your syllabus. Speaking of office hours, go to them. Your professor or your TA will probably be sitting in their office, bored out of their minds. So you going to their office hours will be a welcome distraction. And never underestimate the power of one-on-one instruction. if there is an issue that you need to resolve. Also, know the policies of your university with regard to dropping or switching classes. You will at some point take a class that isn't right for you, and it's a good idea to know exactly what your options are in regards to changing or dropping that before you really need it, or before it's too late to drop the class without ramifications. When you're packing your backpack, there are a couple things that I find very useful as a commuting student. I always have in my backpack painkillers, band-aids, and an extra snack, because while students that live on campus may be able to run home for one of those things, you aren't going to be able to do that as a commuting student. I also always keep an extra umbrella in my car. These are things that people normally are good about having, but if you don't have them, now is the perfect time to start. So finally, make sure that the classes you take will actually help you graduate. Your university will always have a system that will allow you to check which requirements you filled and which ones you still need to fill. If you have questions about this, or sometimes even if you don't, go to your advisor. It's a good idea to check in with your advisor periodically anyways, and they can normally answer any questions that you have about your classes, your degree, or the university in general. So that was my advice video. I hope it helped. Good luck in school this semester, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!